Let's press the record button. That's not getting any bigger. For my status, just trying to make this bigger. Control scrolling is not getting that done in the browser. Why is that? That's doing a little bit better. Let's see. So on my side, I was doing some debugging on my ODOM and realized that although I was getting fixed, the status was not publishing correctly, and then Matt told me to update my NavSat driver, which I did, and so that corrected that. So I have, as best I can tell, ODOM published correctly and have driven with a joystick and monitored that on RViz. So I think for me, what I wanted to spend time on, and then open to input, but wanted to update the map to be sort of closer to my own yard. Because I'm not, it was all a little hectic, but I'm not sure if it was displaying. Well, I think it's an orientation thing on the map. I drove east at about 110 degrees, but on the map it was going right. So that would say maybe the map was just rotated 90 degrees or something. Anyway, I think it might make sense for me to try to update the map a little bit and get that to be a little bit closer physically to what my little test area looks like. Or, I don't know, Matt, is there a way to rotate the map, say 90 degrees, or change the orientation, I guess, which way is north in that? Does any of that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
I missed the first part of this. Is this your lawn tractor and you've got a map and you're trying to line it up on that? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, is my screen sharing by chance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so what I was saying is I was able to get a fix in GPS. I think some of my problems were that the GPS status was publishing incorrectly, and therefore once I got that fixed, I was able to get ODOM working, I think, correctly using the GPS _ODOM.py program. And so I was able to drive mine with the joystick and look at it on RViz, and I think the orientation of the map in my current RViz simulator might be oriented 90 degrees the wrong way, because I want to go out my yard straight, but it's going off to the right on the map. And so I don't know, I just want to get the map to be a little bit closer to the actual situation that I'm operating in, I think.
Now, is this an actual RViz map that you're talking about, or a ROS map, or you're just talking about the way it looks on RViz?
I'm talking about the map that comes up in the ROSAG simulator when you fire that up.
Oh, okay. Did you go through RViz and do the step that you say set your initial position? There's a button at the top to do that.
No. I
Might want to do that. That's how you tell it where you are on your map. And if you're running the simulator, I don't run the simulator, so I don't know if you need to do that step or not. Maybe Matt can answer that question. That if you fire up the simulator, is it already pointing the right direction? Your map lined up and everything, so you don't have to do anything else.
There could be a couple of things that you want to check and verify. And first, on your localization with your robot, you want to make sure that when you're pointing east, that your heading is 0 and that it's counterclockwise as you're turning around. So what could happen, so the air can come in different places, but first verify that your localization is correct orientation.
Since so since I think you guys were trying to help me and you made that map match my field in Texas, the bottom, going from the bottom of that map to the top of that map, my recollection.
Oh, sorry.
Let's see, my recollection is that's actually going west.
So let's assume that you have correct orientation and that it's the ENU standard, east, north, up. So if you take a look, I can show you in the simulator. This is in the farm YAML under maps in the lawn tractor sim. So kind of what you have is you have a PNG or you have an image, and basically this image is just white squares and black squares, and so it tells you where your boundaries are and your borders or any known obstacles. So let's say once you have that image, then right here is this origin, and this is where you can shift it. This first one is X and then Y, and then this is theta. So you can rotate if you adjust this one by 90 degrees, and now this is in radians. But if you adjust this, you can, it's 1.57 or minus 1.57, and that will rotate your map 90 degrees.
Cool.
So it's
Yeah, I'll try that. So anyway, a little bit of progress, and yeah, just trying to push ahead on what would be the right next step and the right next thing to try out. But with ODOM working, that's positive progress. How about Matt? Since you're, since we might have to send a rescue mission out to find you into the Oregon Trail or wherever you're going, what do you can go next? What's going on in your world?
Basically training. Haven't been working on robots this week, but once I heal up after the hike, I'm back on it.
Yeah, what Matt, I will summarize it, and then Matt can expand on it. He's going on a 21-hour hike, doesn't sleep, marches for 21 hours.
It's
He's
48
training for the
miles,
Marines.
so if you can run it, I think you could get out. I think the fastest guy has made it out in 15 hours. So
That's crazy.
Well, that's coincidental. I'm going on a mission. I'm going to sit in front of my TV for 24 hours straight. Unless I have to go to the bathroom, I have to go on a mission to do that.
So, Matt, anything else?
Oh, yeah, I did have a question. I was working on kind of localization, and I was wondering if anybody has surveyed in a base station with the F9P. I've done it with a Trimble, but I haven't done it with that Ardu Simple yet. And generally, I don't run RTK, but I'm trying to get it, going for accuracy. So
When you say survey it in, I don't understand those verbs.
yeah, so on your base station, when you turn that thing on, it doesn't have an absolute accurate position.
Right?
And so what you do, this is what you do on a Trimble, is you collect data for like 24 hours, and then it's a Renix file, and then you upload that, and then Trimble will give you an estimate of your position. I mean, like very accurate estimate of position and your error. And then you take that number and then you type it into the GPS, and that is your surveyed in position. So that's, if you care about exactly where you are in the world, that's what you have to do.
I mean, the couple of different RTK GPSs that I've used, they've had the option of, do you want to manually input, your surveyed location, or do you want to do as you suggested, do best efforts based on its reading of its current location? What would be the downside of using its best efforts of your current location?
So if you ever want to go back to the exact same position, like for example, if you want to, you'll need that. If you switched GPSs, or if you ran a different base station, if you don't start out with an accurate known position, you'll need to shift all of your data around. So kind of the game is you go out, you survey in a position, or you have a known surveyed position, that's your base station that you type in. And then your base station sends corrections to your robot. And those data points that your robot is collecting as it's driving around, you can get back to that exact same point if you had a different GPS, or if you don't survey it in, then you'll get this offset, an error.
And so I don't know if it's correct or not. This is what I did in Texas. Put the base anywhere, fire it up, say, okay, use your best guess as to your location. And then once I get RTK, I took the rover unit and picked out a spot and marked that, and then dug a hole and planted a little pole in concrete so that I always went back to the same spot, and used the lat lon that I got while it was under RTK, and then used that as the surveyed location. Maybe that's still prone to the problems that you're saying. Maybe that won't be the same location every time, but it was the lat lon that I got while the unit was under RTK fix. So does that logically make sense?
But oh, okay, yeah. So like if you did cores or something and got correction data to your base station, then you could be within 2.5 centimeters of your, or whatever the accuracy of your GPS is. So
Right.
that is a way. It gets a little tricky if it just depends on how accurate you want. It's kind of like this exponential curve. The more if you want seriously accurate stuff, the amount of effort increases exponentially.
Well, I will tell you what I did as a test. And I wasn't getting course corrections. I was just getting, the corrections from my, standalone base station. I
How
then
do you
took,
know your standalone station is accurate?
well, that's what I was about to say, is I took my rover and went to a surveyed point in the field, where if I pulled up my, what do they call it? Land plat, or my, something with, officially published by the state of Texas that says, here's your property line, and, found that marker in the ground and said, okay, what's that point? And it was, my RTK was giving me that same point. So I felt confident that my RTK was spitting out, an accurate number because it matched my, I don't know, it wasn't the deed. I forget exactly what it was. It was some official document from the government that said, here's your property line.
And how far off were you from that point?
Well, I took the antenna of the RTK unit and put it right on top of that point. I mean, I had to dig out the weeds and get down to the metal stake that they had put in the ground. Yeah, but it was dead on. So that was telling me the RTK thing was putting out a lat long that the last people who drove a metal spike in the ground and then said, what's the lat long of my property line? It matched that.
Awesome. That's a really good way to verify.
But then again,
I guess
I had that.
It would almost be more comforting if you were like 3 mil out in one direction or something, and then you know.
How far out? I didn't, Jonathan? Jonathan, you broke up a little bit. At least on my end you did. I don't.
Hello?
Yep, we're here. So anyway, that was one of the things I did. It looks like Jeff put a URL out there as well.
So what I recall is, and I verified, I just did a search for F9P survey in, and there's a bunch of links there. And yes, on the F9P, I think if you go to the RG Simple site, the second link I posted there, somebody was asking about it. But I think what you do is you have to go in and turn on the survey in mode. And if I pull up that second link, let's see, make sure I don't have any offending links at the top of my page here. Screen one. So it says down here, I seem to recall, I think I played with this one time, but you turn on the survey in mode and you give it a time here. They say 300 seconds and an accuracy of 2.5 meters. So what you do is you turn it on and you let it run, and after some amount of time, it'll either run for the time that you give it, or it gets under the range that you give it. So if you want to say something small, like say 2.5 centimeters, and this guy is saying, can I turn it on for 24 hours and 20 centimeters? And what you do, it just sits there and runs. It keeps averaging. And then when it decides it's close enough to that point, then it will automatically kick out of that mode. And I don't remember if it automatically stores those values for you in the survey position, or if you have to write those down and manually transfer those. So anyway, if you go down this path, and I started searching for other things to actually find this. Let's see, I gotta turn off my screen to see what I was doing here. What is my search? So somewhere they're going to give you a step-by-step way to do that. And I don't remember. I think you can set it up so right in your main configuration, you go in, you tell it you want it to do survey. So every time you turn it on, it'll do the survey mode. Or I think you can set it up so it'll take the whatever you put in last time. So you run the survey once, as long as your antenna stays in the same place. So when you turn it on, it will use those values. So somehow you have to go in at one time, you have to put your antenna where you want it. You have to turn on the survey mode and then just walk away and then come back later. And I don't remember if you have to monitor it with the computer to know when it's done, or if it just automatically, when it's done, if it just saves the values and goes back to normal mode. It could be it will do that. So all you have to do once, you have to figure out what the steps are here to turn that on, and then come back later and then verify if it's still in survey mode or not. And I think I played with it one time and decided at the time I didn't really need it, so I didn't look at it real hard, but I think that's what it does. You give it an amount of time and a precision, and then later it's got a status. I think if you bring up one of the windows in USetter, I think there's like a survey window or something comes up, and once you start it, it'll put up a thing saying, yes, I'm in survey mode, and then I think it'll tell you what its perceived accuracy is, and as time goes on, that gets smaller and smaller. And then when it's all done, I think the thing that says survey mode active, I think that just kicks out and goes back to normal mode. But again, somewhere at the beginning, will be a step-by-step instructions on how to do that. There is at least one place there's a box that says, do you want to use, and I can't remember if it was this one or the older version of the U-blocks, but it has something that says, do you want to use the surveyed position, or do you want to use, just simply not use that, I think. So you got to have that set up. But again, I think if you go through here and look, there should be a step-by-step either on the Ardu Simple site or on SparkFun site, because a lot of people are using this on SparkFun, or maybe go right to the U-blocks. Possibly if you just search for U-blocks and the F9P and the survey in, which I guess is what that first link was I posted. What was this last link I posted here? Example configuration. So this one, I think they're saying that you can just put in your configuration that it just automatically runs survey when it starts up. And it'd be nice if you could set it so it runs once and then doesn't run again, but so that'll be up to you how you do that. If you're doing like Al did, where you put it a post, you always put the antenna on the same post, then you can just run it once. But if you're going to be carrying around your car and set up a tripod somewhere for a demo, then you need some way to quickly know, how do I set that up? And you could say run a survey for 10 minutes and give it some arbitrary small value, which you probably don't need it as accurate in that case as you do for you'd be driving around at home with a fixed post. So just figure out what the quick steps are to turn it on, and then if you're going to set it up for a demo, turn it on, let it run for 10 minutes, and then you'll have something that's a lot closer than if you're not running, not doing any survey information. So that should work too. I can't give you the exact steps right offhand, but I think that's what you have to do. And that one guy, that Roby, that was doing the F9P stuff, I don't remember if he was running a base station or if he was running the course correction data, but he's real good at documenting the stuff. So I think if you just go down that path, you use the survey in and U-blocks and F9P, and maybe say tutorial or whatever. I think that'll get you where you need to be.
Okay, awesome. I like Al's idea of using a survey post. I've got 2 survey posts here on the property, so that would be a way to verify, just to make sure that everything is okay.
And if you got your adequate range, put the thing right over the top of that survey post, and that way you'll know, you've got the actual marked position. And as long as you put a post up there, you might have built some of a tripod thing over it, so you don't disturb the actual marker that's in the ground, but that would be handy to be able to do that. Did you figure out a way to get your correction data from your base to your rover? Are you going to use Wi-Fi, or did you come up with some other kind of communication to do that, or have you figured that part out yet?
I've just been using the Wi-Fi. That string to string is surprisingly easy to set up, and it just works. I don't even really think about it.
So I was curious what kind of results you're getting with the range and availability of the Wi-Fi and so forth, and what kind of setup you have.
Yeah, that's a problem. I have not set up that around the property, and I've got a bunch of trees that I want to drive in, and so I haven't set that up yet. I do have some 15 dBi antennas that I plan on putting on the Raspberry Pi.
And in one of your videos,
go ahead.
I was going to say, in one of the videos that you posted, you had some fiducials in your trees. Are you using those at all? Or was that just a leftover from a previous test?
No, that's kind of like I was trying to verify position in the trees, in and out of the trees, to use those fiducials. It gets a little tricky. I don't have a total station. You know, there's obviously systems out there, but yeah. So I was going to survey in my base station and then survey in those fiducials, and then drive around and test visual odometry against the.
Sounds awesome.
It takes a little while. Yeah, normally I just okay, we can describe it as 3 types of error. You're going to have map error, you're going to have localization error, and you're going to have control error. And I have spent most of my time just dodging obstacles, and so I feel like if I can thread a robot through a row of trees, then I don't exactly know what the error is on all of those things, but if I can do that, then it's accurate enough. But I'm trying to be a little bit scientific, follow approach, and the right way.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about the progress. Jonathan, what's going on in your world?
Looks like we lost him.
No.
Screen froze.
Doug, how about you and your friends behind you? What are you guys up to?
Oh yeah. Let's see here. So last night we had had kittens here, 5 cat kittens. I always wanted a redhead kitten, and I guess now I have one. So, and let's close out of that. And last night,
Or are those going to be house cats?
well, the mom's a really good mouser outside there. Well, it's house trained, so I hope it'll teach the little ones how to be good mousers. It gets everything from gophers, and had a baby rabbit once, but I made it put it down. But latest thing is I'm working on the gimbals for my Android phone setup, and so I had this case I got from Dollar Tree. It looked like it would fit this phone. So I drilled some holes in it and put some screws in there so the gimbal would actuate. And use this little plastic gimbal frame. You can get them for a couple bucks or something on eBay. It uses 2 SG90 those 9G servos, the little blue ones. Close it up. Oh, no, I have the thing on. And so it's got 2 axes there. However, this case here actually doesn't, which is made for Galaxy, it doesn't fit this one, this TCL one. But the other one, I just drilled it right into the I'm going to turn off the background because I think it clicks out. Choose done. There you are. Old boring house. Anyways, so this one here, I just screwed it right into the frame, the back panel, because the back panel on this phone comes off on there, and so it'll snap in there and hold the phone. Pops out a little bit, so maybe it's more flush bolts more than what I have. Anyways, once this is up, then I can control the camera feed and control where it's pointed at. Another one. And here. That, yeah. And so on an Android phone, language feedback. There's a app called IPCam, which is right. These two guys, when you see an Android one, it's something I wrote on using Android Studio on my computer and programmed. The program called IPCam. It comes up basically with these settings here. You go down the bottom, it says start server. And once you do that, there, and it'll have an IP address and so forth. It basically turns your phone into a web browser. And then I also have check. And this one, that's not a good reflection there. It's just like the screen. It doesn't have much for user interface, but when you go on, which am I on? Akron. Wi-Fi. And now we. Come on. Jumping around. Let's try that again. Just 1 second. There. Okay. Now I can put it on the screen. Browser. Share that. Share. There it is. All right. Get that a little bit like that. And so I type in the address on the local Wi-Fi. Which seems to change every time I do this. And this one uses the port 8765. The other one uses a different port. Right? So much for ad hoc demos. Anyways, on this web page here that you see Zoom on, right? Then it would load up the page being served up by the Android phone. And because I started the Wi-Fi and after I started the program, it's probably not giving me an accurate address. So I can't show you that, but it would show you the video from the camera and plus controls to control the servos on the gimbal. Just kind of a messy interface. I need to clean it up anyways. But that's what I've been working on. So lately.
Do you mind putting in the chat the name of that app that you found?
IPCam. They also have it for the iPhone.
I mean, Matt in the last meeting shared the Ross, I'm going to call it driver or package to unlock the IMU details from an Android phone. I thought that was really cool. I looked at it just a few minutes, and it looked like a really interesting way to get some sensor data off the phone. Now you've got the video nailed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, these phones, you give them, ones I've been using, basically, depending on what specials they're running on track phone, you can get a phone really, really cheap. Like this one was $15. Actually, it was free if you bought a plan. So I bought the $15 plan for
Wow.
1 month. And they're.
Anything else going on, Doug?
Fixed the radiator on the tractor, so now that's failing again and not sucking up all my time.
Jeff, what about you? What's going on? Do we still have Jeff?
I couldn't get my mute adjusted there, so it looks like it's working now. I'm really not doing anything. I see you posted you bought some an IMU and a magnetometer. My question is, does anybody ever run just simply what they call an electronic compass? So you just buy a little module, and they've theoretically figured out how to put out an angle for you that's independent of an IMU. I've got several that I've collected over the years. I got like a Vector 2X compass, and I just noticed I pulled up one that's that looks like it must be a Devon Tech 3-axis. Let me come back to the top here. Start screen. So I got one of these laying around somewhere, and basically they're just selling it as a compass module, and it's probably got an I2C. It looks like it has an I2C interface on it, and you put power on it. It's supposed to tell you what direction is north or what direction you're pointing. And then I've got another one. It's a little tiny module, just a fraction of this size. This one's actually like 1 inch by 1 inch square, I think is what this one is. And I'm just curious, has anybody played with these, and do they work better than just trying to take an IMU and hook up? And it could be that you can put an IMU anywhere on your vehicle, and then put this compass and put it somewhere so you know it's as far away from magnetic fields as you can get. Or you can do the same thing, just take an IMU module and mount it. Just mount one somewhere just to give you your compass heading. I just wonder if that gets around some of the problems of trying to get an IMU to use the magnetic fields. So anyway, if anybody has any thoughts on that or has ever tried that, I'd be curious to hear that. And since Al just bought a magnetometer module, we'll find out from him what that does. But I assume it's just the same basically circuitry you'd find on the IMU. It's number one, you can separate it out from everything else, might be the biggest advantage to it. And I don't know about the sensitivity, which modules you buy, whether they have. So I'm sure some modules are more sensitive and possibly less affected by weird magnetic fields, but maybe not. Maybe that's just the way it works. I guess that's all I got to say about that. Is I've got a collection of these around somewhere. If I dig them out and pull them out and try them someday to see what they do, and I can compare it against, say, like the SparkFun Razor IMU or any other IMUs I have laying around, just to see if they make a difference or not.
Yeah, I blame you, Jeff, on why I spent money at Adafruit, because since you were talking about gyroscopes and magnetometers, I couldn't resist to get more to put on the shelf, and I'm sure I'll find all the time in the world to test them out. Actually, I bought 2 magnetometers, one to actually get heading, and the other is to see if it would replace the magnetic rotation sensor that I've been using. I just thought it would be useful to know if there's another better rotation sensor out there, and it looked like Adafruit had one as well. So I was going to test that out.
Well, I noticed on, let's just see if this works.
So I think the second one that I just posted, product 4413, that's the actual one for heading. The one above is the, I think that one's I'm going to test that one for just testing rotation. So using a magnet, fixing the magnet to, like what I do for my wheel sensor, my wheel speed sensor. That's what I'm thinking about on that one that you've got displayed.
Although a word of warning, I see on the picture on Adafruit there, they show them putting a magnet up next to it. But you do run the risk, since this thing is made to detect the magnetic field of the Earth, if you put a neodymium magnet up to it, you run the risk you're going to magnetize something on the board, and that's going to screw up the whole thing. So just keep that in mind when you start putting magnets next to these things. In fact, I ordered a long time ago, I ordered one of the magnetic sensors that everybody says, oh, this one works great. I think I bought it from Seed Studio in China. And when I got it, I could never get it to work. It was always off by 90 degrees or something, no matter what I did to it. And I compared it. Another guy had one that's the same sensor. This will work okay. The only thing I can figure out is somewhere in the process, they magnetized the board and I just screwed it up. Either that, the chip itself was just bad. So I've kept that in mind all these years, that be careful about applying too much magnetic field to a magnetometer, because that may screw them up.
Yeah, good suggestion. But the accelerometer and gyroscope thing, I mean, I was looking and comparing, and it just looked like sort of the next generation of gyroscope. So it'll just be interesting to see how it deals with, if it's stable, and how it deals with any EMI or anything else that's going on around it. So we'll see. $15. Anything else going on, Josh?
No.
Anything you bought recently you want to share? Admit to?
I was thinking about buying one of those cameras that apparently Walter had talked about in one of the, I think it was the general meeting, and I wasn't paying attention close enough. I didn't realize he posted a link to it. I just saw it pop up on Homebrew Robotics last night. That link I posted, it's that one camera. It's like a 4K camera, and then you can get another different version. It's got 2 extra little cameras to do the depth perception, and it's got a built-in AI processor or something. So either pay $99 for the single camera or $150 for it basically has 3 cameras on the board, and it's got all kinds of, they say it's got neural nets available, and they said something about any idiot can figure this out. So I figured that's probably something I need. So I do. Compared to that camera Matt's got, like that 435 or whatever, and he was showing a picture of his laptop. It says it'll do a disparity map at only out about 12 inches or something. Well, this other one looks like it's closer to the way the Microsoft Kinect works. Just point it out in the world. You can see a person, and it tells you how far away they are. So it might be worth having for that. So I don't know if you could have it and point it on the front of your vehicle and be able to, because it says it'll do segmentation. So basically you point it down and say, hey, show me the segment that's the ground, and then maybe if there's a rock laying there, it'll show that up as a separate object. So that might be worth having. So, and as you point out,
Cool.
It's just one more thing to buy and put in your box of parts and never use. So
No, we would never do that. Matt's going to show us something.
That's the
Is that
depth
live,
map
Matt?
from the 435. No.
say that is the 435.
Yeah. The one that was 12 inches is this one. It's not really meant for a depth camera, but I was just testing it out. And
Well, we can't see what you're
yeah,
doing.
it's
You have no
very
video.
Just see your
You have to stop sharing your
camera
screen,
image.
I think. So we can see you now.
Okay. Oh, that this real sense is pretty good, I guess, maybe to 10 meters or so. I would, obviously 5 meters is more accurate than the 10 meters. But the one that was like a half a meter was the 265. It's not really designed for a depth sensor. These are fisheye cameras, but I was wondering if you could do both, extreme depth. But you can really only do depth like a foot.
So the one that's the real sense camera, and you say it'll do
The
5 to
kicks-
10 meters. Is that what kind of price is they got on that?
I think I got this one used. It was around $150, maybe $200 is what they sell for. But that one on Kickstarter looks really good.
Yeah, I need to dig through their descriptions more and decide if it's something I want to invest in. So there's something like 12 more days on their auction, or whatever they call that, the campaign. So I got a few days
I
to
think it
think
was,
about it.
when I looked at it, I think it was funded.
Well,
Yeah, it was-
it's been funded, but it's only got like 12 days left that you can get in on it.
Mm.
I think they're delivering December 2020, but that's their projection anyways. All the early birds are already gone though. So, well,
Anything else, guys?
I guess the problem I was having with the web interface was I got a new VPN on my computer, and so that was blocking it. Anyways, maybe one of these upcoming meetings I can do a better demo.
That was for your IP camera?
Yeah, the Android brain thing. Yeah, for the gimbal. But maybe then I'll have it more put together, and so it'll be a better demo anyway.
That's really clever. Look.
All right.
Well, we may not see Matt or Jeff for a while. They're both going on their 24-hour journeys.
Yeah, if you don't hear back from me, assume I'm watching something important on TV. Found something good.
That's funny. So, Matt, you're going to make a prediction? How long for you to do the 48?
Hopefully under 20 hours. We'll see how it goes. The last leg's going to be brutal.
I hope your legs hang out and it doesn't get too hot. Next time we want to hook you up with a low ray communication so we can keep track of where you're at. Okay, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Be safe.
See you later.
Okay.